Hello, it's Fred and Sheila McCoy. We're at the Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky. FredMcCoy.com. Go to the top of the page and click on whatever you want. It just hit me about the time she started doing that video, the shirt that I've got on.
Yeah.
This was one of the places I was stationed during my time in the Marine Corps, and one of my favorite duty stations. Years ago, a buddy of mine started selling these shirts on our Marine Barracks page. We've got a page of all the Marines that were stationed there. I bought several of them. I bought some with collars, some with t-shirts, and the red and the yellow, but I bought several of each one. So when you see these shirts, don't think I'm wearing the same shirt every time. I've got several of them because that's my favorite shirt. It and my retired police officer shirt, and I've got a couple of those.
Yeah.
The other things I wear is the Hatfield McCoy t-shirts, and again, there's several of those. So when you see these videos and you see the same shirt, I do change periodically, and she does wash them. It's
all good.
And sometimes we make as many as 6 or 8 videos during a day.
In a day, yeah.
But they're on different topics. So anyway, I'll quit explaining.
It's all good.
Anyway.
No worries.
All right, today's board that we're going to go over is a board that I find interesting. Most people won't probably, but over the years, we all know that Randall McCoy married his first cousin, Sarah McCoy, which was Uriah McCoy's sister. Sarah McCoy was my great-great aunt, and Uriah McCoy was my great-great-grandfather. And of course, Randall McCoy was the first cousin to Sarah and Randall, and she was also the she married Randall, so Randall and Uriah was actually brother-in-laws. We over the years, especially the West Virginia Hatfields or on these Facebook pages, they wanted to point out that Randall married his first cousin Sarah, and he did. Certainly. Back in them days it was legal, and he did it. But not only did he do it, and I pointed out several times about Ellison Hatfield he didn't marry her, but he had an affair with Harriet Hatfield, and could have anywhere between 1 and 3 children with Harriet. We know that Ellison Cotton Jr. was his. Today we're going to go over Cap Hatfield.
Okay.
Cap Hatfield, and some of this is taken off of a Facebook page. So even though I don't like to do something without credibility and researching it ourselves, we've actually got the Virgil Carrington Jones book over there.
Yeah,
but
we sure do.
unless I get something back that says this is incorrect via email, text, phone call, something like that, then I'll just assume that it's correct if nobody corrects it. But
Okay, what are we talking about today?
we're talking about Cap Hatfield marrying his first cousin, Nancy. And it says Cap was in his 18th year in 1882 when he met Joseph and Nancy Elizabeth Smith. Glenn, after her name was Glenn, because she was married at the time to this Joseph Glenn. And the couple moved to Mate Creek. Nancy, it says here, was the daughter of L.P. Smith of Wayne County. Now, I want you to notice here how this person on Facebook didn't mention the mother. It mentioned Nancy was the daughter of L.P. Smith. She was. Who was her mother? Well, her mother was Emma Hatfield, and Emma Hatfield is the sister to Devil Anse Hatfield. Now, I just noticed something when we got ready to do this board.
Okay.
And up here at top, you can take a picture of that, but it says in this photograph is at left, Emma Hatfield, Smith, Reeves, Rouse, with sister Bridget Bertie Hatfield, Mitchell. These were 2 of Devil Anse, Wall, Elias, Ellison, and Smith Hatfield's sisters. So both of these ladies right here was Devil Ance's sister. Of course, that one I think favors Devil Ance more. In her funeral thing, it says that it has this photo, Emma Hatfield, with this photo. But in this photo, off of a Facebook page, it says this photograph is Emma Hatfield on the left.
Huh.
Either way, these are both the sisters of Devil Ance Hatfield.
Okay.
And Emma Hatfield was actually, no matter which picture you put with it, Emma Hatfield was actually the mother of Nancy Hatfield.
Okay.
Nancy Hatfield is the one that would ultimately wind up marrying Cap Hatfield after her husband was suspiciously killed just a few months after the election
So they are cousins.
of the three McCoys. Oh yeah, they're Cap is Devil Ance's son.
Right.
And Nancy was Emma Hatfield's daughter, and Devil Ance and Emma was brother and sister.
Okay.
So once
Whoa.
again, in all the years that the West Virginia Hatfields has thrown it out there about Randall and Sarah McCoy, and we've never tried to. There's no reason to hide it. That's history. It happened.
Yeah, you can't
And-
change it.
But
So
it's funny how the West Virginia Hatfields, anything they could throw, I always say West Virginia. Let's start throwing in West Virginia Hatfields, but let's throw in Waynesboro, Virginia. Let's throw in Tazewell, Virginia. Let's throw in Oklahoma. I think it's Tucson, Oklahoma that William Keith Hatfield's from. Let's throw them in there because that's where a lot of these tales come from too. But I always say West Virginia. Those guys don't live in West Virginia, and some of them I don't think ever has. But I'm going to quit saying West Virginia Hatfields because Rio and William Keith Hatfield are two of the ones that's, along with Ron Selkirk McCoy, are some of the ones that have spread some of this stuff throughout the years. Now, this Facebook page actually says, which I found interesting, it says during the week of September 7th, Glenn was shot dead from an ambush on Mate Creek. Again, I don't know how true this is. I copied it off their Facebook page, and nobody's corrected it there, so evidently it must be true. And if not, then please correct us.
yeah,
We want to put out good information.
that's right.
And we want it to be true, but we found this interesting, and it says that some writers, including Virgil Carrington Jones, tried to pin the murder on Cap Hatfield, implying, if not stating, that Cap had fallen in love with Nancy and took a chance murdering her husband.
Whoa.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I know we talk a lot about Cap, but right here, show Stephen's picture here. Right there, babe.
Here.
There's Stephen Hatfield. That's the grandson of Devil Ance Hatfield. He was the great grandson of Devil Ance. He was the grandson of Tennis
Tennyson.
Hatfield.
Or
Tennis Hatfield was his grandfather, and Stephen Hatfield was a man, I'm telling you, like no other. He was a mountain man, and he didn't care Hatfield, McCoy, West Virginia Hatfield, Kentucky. It didn't matter. Stephen just told it like it was.
What you see is what you get with him.
What you seen is what you get out of Stephen, and I like that about that old boy. He didn't try to. He was not commercialized. He was not. Anyway, going to the point, Stephen told us stories on Cap Hatfield,
Yeah.
which would have been his great uncle, and he told us stories on him. That's you have to believe them because Cap was actually that mean, and so when I read this story here on Facebook about Cap supposedly, or that's according to Virgil Carrington Jones, according to these people, and Cap fell in love with this guy's wife, and he comes up dead. The thing about the marriage that made the news is that the bride of Cap Hatfield's sweetheart, who had taken on a husband at the time when Cap was hiding out to avoid arrest in connection with the feud, but in the matrimony of short time duration. Shortly afterward, Glenn was found dead beside the road, his body riddled with bullets. Where else have we heard that? Riddled with bullets over the years.
Pawpaw tree?
Pawpaw tree. Pawpaw Tree,
Three McCoy boys.
T.C.
Colbert.
Crawford. And who did T.C. Crawford interview? He interviewed Cap,
Cap,
he interviewed
Devil Anse.
Chauncey and Devil Anse. And that riddle with bullets came up then. It was never known who killed him. Cap and the widow married shortly thereafter. Cap was not the hardened killer of legend in 1882. Now, somebody wrote that at the back of their story here, that Cap was not the hardened killer, and I beg to differ. I beg to differ. From reading T.C. Crawford's books, several books throughout the years, Cap was a man to be reckoned with. And, you know, people can say what they want about Fred and how I talk about the Hatfields. If I had to pick two heroes out of the West Virginia Hatfield family, or the West Virginia feuding bunch, one of them would be Crazy Jim Vance, which is not a Hatfield, he's a Vance.
Exactly.
And Cap Hatfield. Boys, listen, those two were manly men. They done some bad, horrible things, but they were men. They were not hiding in caves. They were not on the run all the time. They didn't run from, let's change that. Cap ran the day of the shootout with Jim Vance. He left his uncle behind
Exactly.
to fend for himself. Now, some says over the years that Jim Vance told him to run. You run. I'll hold him off. Very possible, because Jim Vance was a man's man. It sounds like something Jim would probably do. But then once again, who else is there to say any different? The only survivor that day that could have went back and told anybody, I lived through it, I made it, but Uncle Jim made me run. He made me leave. And that's possible, but who they listening to? They're listening to Devil Anse's son, Cap. And even though I just got through bragging on Cap and said he's a manly man, he's still got his dad in him. And what does Devil Anse do at the very sign of trouble or a shootout or something like that, unless they're tied up to trees? Now, if they're tied up to trees, Devil Anse has no problem pulling the trigger and shooting. But when it's one-on-one or in a shootout, he's sick at home or tells somebody else that they need to go do it. I know we've covered that story, so I won't beat a dead horse. But Cap Hatfield, I think, was I think he was as mean as everybody said he was. And some of the stories that Stephen told, and I don't know that we'll ever even tell those stories, because Stephen's not here
We're here to back it up.
to back them up. But he told us some hellacious stories on Cap that his grandmother had told him. And so for today, or at least for right now, we're going to end this video. And it's Fred and Sheila McCoy at the Hatfield McCoy Museum in Liberty, Kentucky. FredMcCoy.com.
Please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.